because he said, no, I've no pen and paper. He says, Tom Petty says, here, give me a pen, someone, right? And give him a pen. And he said, tell you what, we'll just sign on this dollar bill, right? So Tom signed it, but it's actually illegal to deface a dollar bill. So my friend was so out, he tried to make a citizen's arrest. The security came over, got the two of us by the arm and off the bus. Yeah.
We are here in the heart of Dalymount Park with the 5th episode of RTB with two Bows stalwarts. We've Tommy Hynes on the left and we've got Dan Byrne on the right, gents. You're very, very welcome. Thanks for joining us this week.
Thanks, Eric. Nice to be here, actually.
Tom, can I just say you look absolutely beautiful. You look splendid. You look like an umpire about to have a game of cricket. Wearing the Bows tie, LBW.
I was actually on one of the instructions.
Yeah?
Yeah. Seriously, yeah.
Tell me, how you feeling? How's things? How's the health and all that? All good?
Okay now, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a bit of a fright when I saw Dan.
Why?
Well, we had a lot of cardiac problems when Dan was sent to half.
Straight in. Dan hasn't even Tommy's coming in straight in.
No, I'm actually much better now, Eric. Thanks for asking. Yeah.
No problem at all. And Dan, is this your... Well, you're such a Bows fan and the next Bows player. This is hardly your first time back at Dalymount since you left. Now you've been back a few times. Of course you have. Yeah. How's things up north?
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's different. It's something different, and I enjoyed it so far there since Christmas. And I first signed a 6 month, and I liked what I was in, and I signed another 2 years to keep me there for another 2 years.
Yeah. Wow, that's nice, isn't it? For the security.
That's it. Yeah, especially at my age and family and that.
And what's the story with commuting and all that like?
Well, it's go up on a Tuesday and go up on a Thursday and then game Saturdays. It's a little bit different than down here. It's a bit more full time up here, down here, up here.
Yeah. And you're spending a lot of time, I suppose, with another Bows man, Swanee.
Right, Swan, yeah. What a legend. He's a good lad, yeah.
And do you travel up together and all kind of thing? Or?
Well, there's a good, you could make a League of Ireland 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a good few lads that play League of Ireland have gone up now.
Yeah. And I look at a lot of the Irish League teams, and when you see the lineups, you go, oh my God, I remember him. He used to play for Sligo. He used to play for Cork.
Yeah, well, that's
League of Ireland players now playing Irish League.
Well, I wouldn't have looked at it. When I was playing down here, I wouldn't have looked at the League up north.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have really, whether there was League of Ireland players playing there, but...
Yeah. And how would you compare the standard and all that?
It's different. It's different, yeah. I'd look at it as I tell people, it's more manly football.
Okay.
Like down here, it'd be more technical and break us down. It's get in your face and head and kick and like it's good. It's good.
Would you think that suits your style?
Well, just head and kick for me. Yeah, absolutely.
Dan Byrne has found his niche.
He actually has another Bows player up there with him.
Yeah. Ryan.
No.
Swanee.
Wade.
No. Well, he's up in Larne.
Oh, Wade's later.
Yeah,
he's up in
Larne.
And then there's
Fudger.
Yeah, he's up in
Larne as well.
Yeah. He could make an ex-Bows League from Irish League team up there. But Tommy and Dan, you share a bond as well with the Bohemian Foundation. And the workers, particularly in the prison. Tommy, would you like to tell us a little bit about that and how that came about and what it involves and what you're trying to achieve, I suppose?
Yeah, I won't take too much time. How it came about actually was...
Take as long as you want,
Tommy. Thank you. How it came about was when Stephen Kenny was manager here.
Okay.
I was actually running a shelter down the street here in Blessington Street for heroin users. And I had some experience when I lived in LA of working with people on the street, playing street football and stuff like that.
You lived in LA, Tommy?
20
we'll
years.
Get back to that. Okay, carry on,
20 years, yeah. 25 years actually in the States. But what I had the idea that to integrate them back into society, like some of these kids, they wouldn't have the nerve to go into a shop and buy a loaf of bread. But bring them to Dalymount, 3,000 people here, they wouldn't even be noticed. So I had the idea, I approached Stephen Kenny, gave me 10 tickets for every home game. He said, and whatever else I can do for you, Tommy, let me know. So I started bringing the lads up every Friday night. They absolutely loved it. And the impact I had on getting them off gear and turning them around and integrating them back into society was amazing. And that was the
and
start.
Just by being out in public with people
around them, that didn't point the finger at them. Nothing.
Right.
Then we had the first, actually people don't know this, in whatever year that was, what was that, 2003 when Stephen was here?
Way back then, yeah.
We had a homeless tournament here in Dalymount and Kevin Hunt was the referee.
Oh,
and then we had a penalty shootout with Ashley Bale in goal. So it goes back that far.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was doing something in Mount Joy. I was giving a talk on alcohol and drug abuse, and they heard I was involved with Bows and can you do something for, the prisoners? So that's how it started. And then we start going in, like Dan come in, we play for the Conway Cup, which is named after Jimmy Conway, John Conway, and Tom Conway, who played here.
As I remember Schoolboy Cup, when I played Schoolboy football way back in the day, I used to play for Stella Maris, and we won the
Conway Cup. Exactly.
15s it was.
That's right, yeah, yeah.
But Dan, how did you get involved? Like, was it just Tommy just saying, come with the stall in with us?
Yeah,
well,
no, look, it's an eye-opener. It's a big eye-opener going in, and nearly not as a kid, more teenager, you'd love to go and see the prison and see what they're like, and I would have been about 19, 20 going in, and you're looking at that, and you're like, wow. Yeah. You never think the picture on the outside is the picture inside. Exactly,
and I remember I've done some gigs
there
myself.
I was actually going to bring that up. By the way, if anybody doesn't know, Eric has volunteered an awful lot of his time to help me in the foundation, in the prison, because we don't only do football, we actually do comedy as well. Yeah,
and I just to echo what both of you have said there, like going into a prison it was a real eye-opener for me in that, particularly coming from the north side, you'd recognise a lot of the fellas in there, and they'd recognise you, and you're kind of. But what I always felt an overwhelming sense of sadness when I came out of the jail. It wasn't like, oh my God, or fear or anything like that. There was an overwhelming sense of sadness that, a lot of the lads in there weren't afforded the opportunities that a lot of other people were, and at the end of the day it came down to choices, and some people just had no choice at all. So come here. I think it's an amazing thing, and is there like I know John Cleary, another comedian friend of mine from Sligo. That's right. He was an honorary Bowesman now at this stage. But John's done a lot of work in the prisons.
Yeah, and, John set up a really. Sorry for interrupting you, Eric. He set up a great program in there, and it's actually was teaching them how to be comedians. Right. Because they all think they're comedians anyway. Of course, because they're acting to go all day. They've nothing else to do.
That's all they do is laughing.
John helped them construct their comedy into
a structure into jokes and the
storytelling. Yeah. So you probably noticed yourself when you were in there, there was always a prisoner or two telling jokes in the show, and it was fantastic for them. So they actually, it turned out now, it's becoming out soon, they actually wrote a play, and it's actually for the radio.
Brilliant.
Because obviously we can't film and show faces and stuff like that. So through the Dublin City Council Arts Project, they're actually doing a radio play.
Okay, so the actors will be the prisoners?
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah.
Magic.
But the thing is, when the play... actually, I'll give it away. I won't say any more.
No
spoilers. No spoilers. But I tell you what the impact is, because I obviously spoke to the prison board and the governor about it, and what the likes of you and yourself, Dan, did. The more you bring the outside world in, the greater impact it has on them turning their lives around.
Right. And not becoming the revolving door where they're in and out.
And all they see is each other every day.
Yeah.
But when you bring people in, and everybody that went in, yourself,
and even going in with the ex-prisoners themselves.
Yeah, you see, we have a foundation team. That's what Dan was talking about. Sorry, Dan.
You go in with them, and they would have been already in.
Oh, there's former prisoners.
Yeah, that go in with you. Team.
Right.
But they're finished now, obviously, and they've done their time and stuff.
And they're happy to volunteer and do this again.
It's the foundation
team. You would think though, with people who've been in prison and they get out, the last thing they want to do is go back to the prison kind of thing. But that, it takes a lot of.
Do you know something? Through sport,
right?
If you ask them to go in and give a talk,
they
wouldn't. But if you go in and play a match, of course they will.
Yeah.
And that same foundation team, there's a tournament held every year in Europe. It's held in Holland, and it's in a prison in Holland. And there's countries from all over Europe, 10 countries, and each country has a foundation team that's made up of guys who've turned their lives around. We actually won it.
Oh, well, no way.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the guys were in tears. Like they got the Irish flag, they played the national anthem. It was unbelievable for them, I'm really getting a bit emotional. But when you see them there, knowing what they've been through, how they turned their life around through sport, and then go win an international tournament.
And they've got an identity and all that kind of stuff.
But do you know what the big victory was? And I tell everybody this, the governor of Mountjoy came with us on the plane. It was a bit iffy at the start, but by the time the weekend is over, they had a great discussion about why he did that to them. And then he said, well, why did you do that? And he was able to break down, it was fantastic, why they were given detention, why they were like all this.
Right,
so
okay.
he was able to explain.
So a couple of these ex-prisoners would have had a run-in with this governor before.
Oh, of course,
right.
And he was able to explain.
That must have been a bit.
Why? And then they actually said, sorry, I didn't see it that way. And it was actually a great experience. Yeah. Great experience.
And
great learning experience.
The thing about it doesn't cost much, like for Tommy to volunteer, yourself, myself. It doesn't cost much for us, but in the long term, over it means so much.
It means so much to them.
Like even the effect, for example, the lads going back in.
Yeah.
Like over the long term, it costs nothing.
Yeah.
But it means so much.
Yeah.
I remember going in one time when I was nervous going in. I've been in a few times in gigs, but it was only after I got the part in Fair City playing a man called Spallan, who was a gangster.
They'd be watching you.
Exactly. And when I walked in, all the players were going, all right, Spillane, what's the story? What's the story? I was like, all right. But then later on, my character turned into a rat. Right? And I was going into the joint, I was like, oh no, the tide has turned, like, you know.
Yeah.
And but thankfully they were all right. There was one fella going, oh, you bleeding rat, you're a rat, you're looking on in here, you're a rat. I was like, oh, jeez. And I thought the gig was going to be a disaster, that they'd be heckling me with that, but no, they were great. They're actually great audiences to perform to, because
you give you a bit back and a bit of crack.
Exactly, and have a bit of banter with them. Like, you know, the usual. Any couples in, you know, this kind of thing, and they get a bit of crack out of that. And also the obvious one, you've got a captive audience there, so you're away in a hack. But
no, they actually love you and Willa coming in.
Willa, yeah. Well, Willa's brilliant because he he's done time himself, and he knows exactly what it's like on both sides. So that's the foundation. We might come back to that in a bit, Tommy. But Dan, if we can just come to you now, you're with Warren Point up in the Irish League. You left. Before that you were with Shells, and before that, obviously you were with Bows.
Yeah.
And we know you're a Northside boy through and through, Kilbarrack lad. You've been a Bows fan all your life. Do you remember like your earliest memories of coming to Dalymount as a Bows fan?
Sins, yeah. So some of the bad, good times and the bad times I've been through them. And I think my first actually game was a Bows Rovers game.
Oh,
but
wow.
I was in the Rovers section. I was only a kid. I would have been about 7 or 8. I went with my brother-in-law. He was a Rovers fan, and it was the night the pig was shown.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so that was my first memory.
Boots Grant.
Yeah.
Boots Grant. Yeah.
And then I think it was the Ghent game after that here.
Yeah.
I was over on the way end with my dad in the Ghent game.
Right.
But we were over that side. It would have been Bows fans.
Of course.
But it was Bows fans all the way around. Right. But that was my first memory.
And then you just got hooked.
Yeah, my brother used to play with him when he was younger. He wouldn't have went. He would have been 17s, 19s maybe level. But then he got sucked into it. But there's a big following in Kilbarrack.
Right.
Of fans, and then we had a group going from Kilbarrack, and then
brilliant.
Just bought
I was never aware of that, Dan, to be honest with you. I never knew there was like a, as you say, like this group of Kilbarrack heads. I always thought, like, you know, probably ignorantly, I thought it was just Cabra, Finglas, Ballymun, that kind of area, East Wall. Never even thought extended as far as
Kilbarrack.
It's great to hear that.
Yeah.
You know. But how did you sign up for Bows? How did that happen? Who did you play for before? Were you a Kilbarrack United player?
No, well, it's a lot. I always played with Belleville all through the years, and then went to Home Farms 17s then, and that was the step 19s came in then. It was only new, it was kind of reserves. But when I was about 16, I had a week trial with Bows, but I was Bows fan at the time. Yeah. And it was Belleville manager at the time, I can't remember his name, but anyways, he knew somebody in Bows, and he got me in for a week. Boy was coming in, and Bows are up in DCU, when they were back then, and the money was there, and there was all the big players. You have the Harrys, Hawks, Brian Murphy, Glenn Cronin, all them big players. Like, and I was going in there, like
overall the kind of thing, like
that was being like kids nowadays, United, Barcelona. Like that's what it was like to me back growing up. Like I didn't follow English football. Yeah, Bows are just and
all of a sudden you were training with these boys, these superstars, like
and they're fucking barking at each other, and I'm like, wow, what's going on? He's only a kid, like 16.
Brilliant.
Basically living the dream, really. Yeah. Like, and that's what we would have wanted.
And how did that trial go for you? Did it affect you in any way, or did it spur you on?
It spurred me on, absolutely. I remember there was one thing that got me was I was at the bus stop outside. I think I was waiting on my dad or something, and Joey and Dow, like Joey wouldn't speak that much. Yeah. Like around the group, we wouldn't. I don't know if you know that, but I was out at the bus stop, and Joey pulled up outside and asked me did I want the lift.
No way.
Yeah. Like them little stories. That,
Did you take the lift?
No, I didn't take the lift. No.
But, sorry, Joe. No.
I probably regret it now. But I started there. Then I think I was playing 17s. Obviously went 19s. Then Harry signed me. He was the 19s manager at the time. And then I had 2 years there, and then went in, stepped into the 14 gradually, but didn't really play that much. I didn't play at all actually. Then went. I think Aaron was the manager, and then Harry was getting involved and coaching and stuff. And then I went back to Kilbarrack for a year. Probably going for Kilbarrack maybe September, and it was probably one of the best years of my life.
Really?
Like, football-wise.
Okay.
So then...
How would you explain that, Dan? Like, in terms of just your form and
I was
how
playing,
you developed?
I think I was 19, and I was playing with my friends, and it was really enjoyable, and we were winning things. And
right. Was this the Kilbarrack in the AOL Premier?
Yeah.
Premier A. And
against Sheriff.
Yes.
We got to the final.
Ballymun United and all them things were in around there.
So that was a good year, and then I got a trial. I got into the AUL side, which was big back then. It was good standard, and somehow I got a Bradford over an England trial.
Right.
Yeah. So
somehow, Daniel,
it was just like Bradford looking at the AUL side. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at all. So they were coming over for a summer trip, and I ended up going to St. Johnstone's House and training with them for the week.
It's a really great experience, was that?
It's brilliant. Yeah. It came out of nowhere. So they had a game against Athlone and a game against Bows, actually.
Right.
So I was playing for Bradford against Bows, and he was the manager. And after me being here and stuff, so I done well then, and then got called back to Bows.
Right.
And then stayed there from then. And I think he brought me on. I was playing against Cork, down in Cork.
That was your debut?
Yeah, that was on telly down there.
In Torres Cross, like, that was your debut?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then,
how did that feel? Like,
brilliant.
Like, as a Bows fan, it must be like...
Especially being on telly as well.
Yeah, exactly. Your family must have been so thrilled and all that.
But then the next game was Rovers at home.
Right.
And during the day, he'd named the team the Thursday and I wasn't playing. Obviously, I was only a kid. And he rang me then and he says, Dan, Ryan's after pulling out Ryan McAvoy, you're sick. He says, I'm going to put you in. I was like, okay. So,
and you knew what it was about.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank God he did ring on the day rather than the day before, or if I had known the train.
You wouldn't have slept that night probably.
So I went in anyways, and then Ryan took frees and corners. He says, Dan, you're on frees and corners. And I'm like, what's going on here? So we end up winning. I think Davy Mull scored after about 10 minutes, and we end up winning 1-0 here. Rona Fim is the penalty, correct?
Yeah.
But magic, absolutely. Couldn't name any
you
better.
Must have felt 10 foot tall walking on.
And I think I could have got man of the match as well, to be honest. I remember
amazing.
Davey, I was playing midfield and Davey was beside me and he literally had me by the collar and just pulling me around. That was great, yeah. Very good. So that's started there then, yeah.
But your career progressed with Bows for a few years, Dan, and I mean, I was only talking to you before we started filming though, like, nobody talks about the goal. Most people talk about that tackle. In the Rovers match. And I have to say, I'll be honest with you, Tommy, on the morning of a Rovers match, I'll stick on YouTube and I'll have a look at that tackle myself and I go, we need to channel the Dan Byrne spirit into this Bows team tonight. And I suppose a lot of Bows fans when they meet you, they probably talk to you about that.
Yeah, well, at least it's a memory of something.
Of course, it's a very positive memory as well.
That's the thing to look back at.
But I think that the great thing about Dan, Tommy, you know this as well, like Bows fans, players come and go, but Bows fans will always hold a lot of affection for Dan because they knew how much Bows meant to him and that he was he was a Bows fan. And geez, to be nice, you'd see Dan, he's in Block G with the Loonies. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you something now. Do you know your best performance, in my eyes? We played Pats one night away. I think it might have been on a Monday or Tuesday. And we only had a real young team. And you and Oscar were the senior players.
3-0 or something.
It's
me and Warren O'Hara.
And actually, I think Promise made his debut that night as well.
Yeah, it could have been a few,
that epitomised everything for me. About Dan, about like players like that playing for Bows.
I think I know that. The match I thought about Promise scoring, was that Ali Ragba was playing as well?
Ali could have scored two.
It was a smashing night, wasn't it? Really?
It was brilliant. And
it was.
That was the stage Bows were on. We were in Momentum. We were in the. I think we were in semi-final the cup, was it?
Yeah. It was. That was a season when I think we all kind of believed that the club was finally on the up and things were only going to start getting better then. And but I suppose then, Dan, obviously the other side of it, like football is full of highs and lows, and when you knew your time was up at Bows, how did that come about? You don't have to go into the exact details and all that, but it must have been tough for you.
No, absolutely. But as you said, it's football, and that's what happens. I think it's here 8-9 seasons overall or whatever it was.
You lived the dream, as you said.
I lived the dream, and it was petering out and stuff, and I didn't fall out in bad terms with Keith and whoever else. It was good. It was good, and I chose my option at the time, and I spoke to people in which I was asked to stay at Bows, and I thought the right decision was to go to Shells.
Just for your own career.
But that's football.
You want to play football every week,
that's it. And maybe it wasn't the right decision, maybe it wasn't.
But you went with your gut instinct.
Yeah, that's it. And at the time, I thought that was the right choice. But
and now you're in Warren Point on a 2-year contract. Well, you've done 6 months, another 2 years up there. Well, that's great. Come here, Tommy. You lived in LA.
I lived in LA.
Tell me all about that. What were you doing over there? Were you doing a bit of music or something?
No.
Gallivanting.
Gallivanting, exactly.
Yes. we get that off camera.
What part of LA do you live in? My sister lives over there.
I have my offices in Santa Monica.
You have your offices? Hang on a second. Rewind here.
Yeah.
What offices?
No, I was a newspaper man. A lot of people didn't realise that.
Yes.
I worked for the Indo before I went over.
Yes.
I was a sports journalist,
Right.
and I went over there. I was playing football actually in LA. But actually, I went to Texas first, spent a year and a half there, then moved up to LA in '84.
Tommy, sorry, before you even go to LA, like somebody mentioned this to me before, and I said,
I'm afraid I know what you're going to say.
No, you played a bit of football. You played at decent level of football. Tell me about this.
Well, I played Leinster Senior League here before I went.
Yeah.
And then I went to Texas for a while. I lived in Corpus Christi in the Gulf, but I played out of San Antonio. Then I got a call from a friend of mine, Greg McElroy, who was in LA playing, and he said, "Hey, do you want to come up for a while?" It's just the West Coast League. It wasn't like Major League Soccer or anything like that. It's only semi-pro.
Yeah.
So I went up and I absolutely loved it. Now, I was actually about 32 then, but it was blazing hot.
I can imagine.
I was just playing sweeper. You could stand there all day. Once you could read the game, just keep knocking it around. Suited me fine, But I absolutely loved it. But as I said, I started working then. I became sports editor with the British Weekly newspaper. And then I said, well, if there's a British Weekly, we'll bring out an Irish Weekly. So I started a couple of newspapers myself, the Irish American Press, European US News, and like different publications. Yeah. And I shared an office then with him on 4th and Santa Monica.
Oh, well, yeah. My sister lived in Santa Monica.
Yeah, well, you know the main 3rd Street?
Yes.
But just the next street up and just on the corner, that's where our offices were.
Wow.
But I spent
great place to live.
Spent most of my time living down in Manhattan Beach. And then, I know. And then...
Were you in the muscle gym and all? Tommy, wait.
That's Venice.
Oh, that's Venice. Yeah.
No, then I moved up to more near Hollywood at the corner of Pico and Ogden. Yeah, the street I lived on had a house there.
So you were like primarily a journalist over in the States and all that. Like any stories for us? Any rock and roll stories, music?
Best
story.
All right, best story ever. You ready?
Can I tell you? All right. Can I just say one name and then you can tell me if I have a story or not?
Jay McGann.
Tom Petty.
Is that true? Who told you?
No, I got a whisper off somebody and he said, ask him about Tom Petty. And I said,
okay.
Tell us,
this is in, I think it was after a gig in the Hollywood Bowl. And because it was a newspaper man, we always had backstage passes.
Of course, yeah.
But the after party was on his tour bus.
Right. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Yeah. It's a fabulous tour bus. It was as big as this room nearly. So we were all on tour bus. And I don't know what happened, right? But we got a bit out of control because we were drinking and doing a bit of gear and stuff, It doesn't matter, it was years ago. And one of my buddies, right, asked him for an autograph. And look, you don't really do that backstage, but it was a trick. Because he said, no, I've no pen and paper. He says, Tom Petty says, here, give me a pen, someone, right? And give him a pen. And he said, tell you what, we're just signing on this $1 bill, right? So Tom signed it, but it's actually illegal to deface a $1 bill. So my friend was so out, he tried to make a citizen's arrest.
Oh, Jesus.
The security came over, got the two of us by the arm and off the bus.
That was the story.
So that's a great story. Tommy, so you were thrown off a bus by Tom
Petty. Yeah.
That's probably why he wrote that song, Don't Come Around Here No More.
But the best one was, there's a hotel on Sunset Boulevard called the Hyatt. It's called the Hyatt Riot. And all the big bands stay there. And the Pogues were staying there. They'd come back from a tour in Japan. And we'd been knowing the Pogues a long time. I know Spider Stacey very well. So we all went down to the hotel, up to the room, acting to go. But Shane produces these samurai swords that he's at the point. They're only ceremonial.
Yeah.
But
ornaments over the fireplace.
But the same loony that was on the Petty bus with me is into all this Tai Chi stuff. He decides to show Shane how to use them properly. So the two of them bit by bit, it starts off nice and gentle. Next there's a mirror, a lamp going over, out of the room, down into the lobby, and they're swinging and flying.
It's turned into a Kill Bill film.
Yeah, seriously. And next, door burst open, cops. Put down your weapons, your weapons. I'm in LA, right? And you know Joey Cashman? Joey Cashman was manager of the Pogues. Jumps in front of Shane McGowan. Shoot him. Oh, man, what a night.
Wow, Tommy. I'm seeing you in a different light now.
Seriously, it was absolutely insane. But no, we had loads of stories like that. Absolutely brilliant. But not every band that was in town. But it was a great era, though, in the 80s. Because it was a great era in film. You had Pierce Brosnan coming through and all, people like that. Then I seen U2 playing in Santa Monica in the Civics Centre. I think there was 1,200 of them.
Yeah.
You know, when they're starting off.
And tell me the story of you coming back here and getting involved with Bows then, Tommy. How did it all come
Well, I was always a Bows man because I'm from Cabra up the road.
Right.
So always I came.
So okay, you're a Bows fan for many years.
Yeah, I watched Turley play.
Right.
So that'll tell you what age I am. Yeah.
So did I.
No, I watched him make his debut for Bows.
Right. I wasn't there for his debut.
In the 60s, yeah. But the minute I came back, straight to Dalymount. But, they were looking for someone to help Brian Trench with the media.
Okay.
And so obviously I volunteered.
Because you're your media background.
Yeah, and then bit by bit it grew from there. Then Brian moved on. He actually made me then media director, and then that's how, as I said, Stephen Kenny then got involved. That's how so I was actually, when I was in LA, sorry, I should have told you this, did a lot of volunteer work with the street kids and playing football, mostly in the Latino community downtown LA, big, huge drug problem with the Bloods, the Crips, the whole scene.
The gangs, the
whole scene was crazy, absolutely crazy. So I was, friends of mine were volunteers. They asked me would I help out because they knew I played football and they wanted to play football with the kids on a Saturday afternoon. So I actually brought that back with me in my head. And then Simon Community asked me would I do some work for them. And then the Paul Trust was setting up this shelter and asked me would I help them with that. And then I combined both, being up here with Bose, and then, as I said, bringing the kids from the shelter up the Daily Mount. So that's where it all sort of snowballed from there.
And now you go around with a Bose toy. You're the smartest dressed.
I got along with it. Stephen Lambert gave me a lot of this.
But no, it's. I mean, obviously, then Tommy, you've seen the changes in Bose and over the years.
I came down when they were amateurs.
Yeah, but I'm even talking in the more immediate recent past when we almost went to the wall.
Went to the wall, yeah.
After the glory days when you were training with the superstars that time.
But you know what? But the thing is, it was so unlucky because we had sold the ground for 50 million.
Albion Investments, whatever it was.
Yeah, man. And then the whole crash came.
Yeah.
But we'd borrowed against the fact that we were getting this money.
Yeah.
Which the money never came then.
A lesson learned there, I suppose, and it was unfortunate timing.
It's like counting, like bird in the hand, two in the bush, we went for the two in the bush,
But then you've seen over the last few years the steps forward the club has made.
Oh yeah, seen the progress.
And like the base that they have here now with the members, there's never been as many members as there are at Bose now.
I would put that down to not myself.
Well, I'm glad you didn't take credit for it.
Or Dan. But the thing is, what we did starting off is what the community is built on. The current Bose brand is built on that. We didn't take it to that level. I'm still going into prisons, and you'll still be coming in when the plague is over and that. But that was the basis for what we have now. You see all the shirts, all the refugee shirt up there, all the stuff we do was built on just that. And that's what I like about Bose. It was very consistent.
Yes.
As you say, things changed over the years now, but our work in the community actually has just been fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Whoever thought we'd see a sign outside sold out Bose versus UCD?
I know.
It's incredible. Incredible. But I compared it now to the baseball in the States, because friends of mine used to play with the San Diego Padres. I used to go and see the Padres a lot, and the same atmosphere, great family atmosphere, thousands there. But a lot of people would be talking, yapping, and my mind would be going, you miss a home run, look at the match, right? But if they were there for the experience, and
the event.
And I eventually, copped on. You don't have to see every single thing every second. You're there with thousands of people, talk to your neighbours, get hot dogs. It was a great day, and now I see a lot of that here. You see it yourself. There's loads of kids running up and down.
That's the thing that struck me. There's more families here than ever,
and that's why if we
younger fans coming in, who are the future of the club, you know.
And if we get the new stadium.
Yeah,
we can expand so much because it won't depend on the football. We're not winning the league. We haven't won the league for a long time. It's irrelevant, you know what I mean? We got Europe.
It'd be nice to win it, though.
It'd be nice to win it. But
let's be honest.
But the way we're structured now and with the community, we're not depending.
Yes.
But also we're no longer dependent on or never were a sugar daddy coming in. Yeah. A lot of clubs in League of Ireland could go to the wall tomorrow if someone walked away. Yeah. Whereas we're actually very, very sound, and it's built on good foundation.
And Turlock mentioned that as well when he was playing in the 70s. He was saying, when Bose had that purple patch during the 70s when they won a couple of leagues and FAI Cups and whatever, he was saying that there was big crowds in Dalymount in the mid-70s, and he says, but it was all built on community. People in the local area, Finglas, Cabrera, Eastwall, all coming. Yeah. And that obviously got lost in whatever happened to League of Ireland football in the 80s and whatever. But it's definitely come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
And that's down to a lot of incredible work done by a lot of volunteers in the
background. Oh yeah, it's all volunteer.
People involved in the club.
Volunteer. But I find it very strange that all League of Ireland clubs don't do it. I've given talks about it to other clubs, tell them about it's.
Don't give them our secrets.
I wish the whole League of Ireland would do it.
It's not really a secret.
No, it's not.
It's blatantly obvious. It's common sense.
It's very simple, because I tell you what, you get an extra 100 people come to a game at 15 euros a head. It's 1,500. 10 games, it's 15,000, right? How hard is it to get an extra 100 people?
Yeah.
So simple, like, you know, and that 100 brings another 100. That's how we built it, bit by bit by bit. And just go out in the community. And the advantage that Sligo have, Dundalk, Drogheda, they're the only team in the town. Cork. They should be absolutely flourishing.
They should be cleaning up.
Sligo, I think Sligo on their day now. They're a proper club, I think.
Yeah, they're starting to do it now.
And they're very community based as well. They do a lot of work in the local.
John Cleary does a lot of stuff.
They got an awful lot of money from fundraising this year, didn't they?
A huge amount in lockdown. They got kind of like I was kind of taken by surprise because I know Bows are very good at that, and I was kind of going, here, hang on, we've got challengers here. Fair play to them.
No, but every member renewed for Bows, and they haven't seen a match for a year.
Yeah.
In fact, we got new members,
and even more members came on board, which is.
And we've overseas members now, you know, because we sell a lot of this stuff overseas.
Well, even the likes of the Fontaines jersey, like, I mean, I seen one or two people question that, and I couldn't understand why. But you see the
jealousy,
like these lads, like these like the Fontaines.
They've been just nominated again actually for awards now. Huh? I seen on the news last night. I think they're being nominated for something else now.
They're always going to be nominated. They're like one of the most progressive bands in the world, and to have their name on our jersey is huge because there's like I was speaking to somebody in the club and they said they've never sold more of a Bows jersey than this one.
Oh yeah,
orders coming in from all over the world.
That's it. Yeah,
because they're Fontaines fans.
Yeah,
you know. And of course, then the knock-on effect is that the homeless charities are benefiting from a percentage of every sale, which is great.
I wish they'd wear the jersey when I get the awards. Do you? I thought that was in the contract. Is that right? Did you hear that?
Well, you know when you go to an award ceremony, Tommy, you want to look your best. You can't go on the football jersey.
I don't know, you know.
No, I know a couple of the lads have the jersey on in the publicity.
I've seen some photographs,
when it was launched.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
But what is Warren Point like in that respect, Dan? In terms of like, I mean, come here, it's one of the smaller clubs up in the Irish League. Like, you know, you're competing with the likes of the big clubs like Linfield, Glentoran, Glenavon, and all them. Is there a community base that they're trying to build on up there? Or
absolutely. I think they're a club on the up, anyways.
Right.
From me coming in at Christmas time to now, you can notice the difference.
No way, really.
In
that short space of time.
I see it here. Well, when I was here and before I was playing here as a fan, you could see the community stuff, and I went up there. It's different in every club a bit. Well,
of course.
Shells, and it's different.
Yeah.
It's different, and it's not the same as here. But you can see people in Warren Point now, they're trying, they got a general manager, they're getting all this and stuff to do stuff outside, they're getting a women's team. And
so they're realising the values of all this
stuff, and they've got big plans to big stadium up there and stuff. They're only a young club, I think they're 30 years old or something.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so
they're the RB Leipzig of the
do you give them advice on community work?
Absolutely not, though. I just try to play football, Tommy.
Really?
I struggle at that.
Do you not get involved?
No, not yet. No.
Any jails at Warren Point, is
there? I'm good at that.
Lads, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to the Perdies. I could talk to you all day. Yes, Larry, we only got
Brilliant.
But no, Tommy Hynes and Dan Byrne, thanks very much for joining me today.
Eric,
and hope to see us both in Daily Moon Park very, very soon.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Just regarding the game in Sligo, I suppose the scoreline speaks for itself. Unfortunately, we were flat. We didn't get going. We conceded two soft goals early in the game, and never really recovered. And we didn't give ourselves any opportunity in the second half, apart from what seemed like a perfectly valid goal from Georgie Kelly, which was given offside. And we're not quite sure why it was deemed as offside, but. You know, we were comprehensively beaten against Sligo. We got what we deserved out of the game, which is disappointing because we have been on a recent good run of form where performances have been really good. But Saturday was very unlike us recently, and you know, we're disappointed with the scoreline. We're disappointed in the manner in which we conceded the goals, and ultimately we're disappointed with the performance because we didn't really work as hard as we could have, and as we have been in other games, and we didn't use the ball as well as we have done in other games, and we didn't come out full of energy and firing, because we knew Sligo would be a good side. They're obviously up the top of the table for a reason, and we knew that they would be coming for us all guns blazing. So we didn't reach the heights, and that was disappointing. So obviously, looking ahead to the Pats game, it's another team up at the top of the table. It's a Dublin derby. They've beaten us twice this year, and the focus obviously after Sligo shifted towards Pats, and ultimately that's where we are. We're looking forward to the game. We're looking forward to again having supporters in the stand, getting behind the team. We'll need that in a Dublin derby. Like I said, Pats are up there. They've beaten us twice already this year, so we've got to try and win the game. I'm stating the obvious, but we've got to try and get back to the basics that we've done well in recent games, and try and implement our game and impose ourselves on the opposition.
Hello, Sean Byrne here with an update on the latest senior women's team news. Last 2 games we have played, Forston was away to Treaty United, and on the day we lost 2-1 to a last minute winner, which was really hard to take for the girls. We then went into a mid-season break for a week, and then back into our preparation for our game v Galway, which was played in Dalymount. Absolutely great occasion and a great day for the girls. The game ended up in a 1-1 draw, and it was great to pick up another point in the season. This week we play away to Cork City, and we know we will be up against another tough opponent. But as usual, we prepare, and the girls will give 100% for the Pogues cause. Thanks a million for listening, and talk soon, Sean.
Come on, Boss.